everybody. Welcome to another weekly edition of Ask Amy. Today, we're going to be talking about something both real estate and safety related. And that is because we are at the beginning of hurricane season, which can also bring flooding. We are on the 1st of July today, and late spring into early fall is hurricane season in Houston. Now, let me first be clear. I love this city, and wild horses could not drive me out of it or drag me out of it, either one. But once you've lived here for a while, you have to kind of get used to being ready for hurricanes and floods. It becomes second nature. But if you're new, as often my clients are, there are some things you need to know and be cautious about as we enter into hurricane and flood season. So I'm going to share some of those with you today. So there's two phrases that I want you to remember from today. One is hunker down, which is a special Texas phrase that means be where you can be the most safe and stay there. And the other is turn around, don't drown. So you're going to hear both of those a lot during hurricane season. If you're not from Texas, hunker down may sound a little funny at first. Turn around, don't drown is about when you're in your car and you see barricades or you see water that looks like it's standing still and it's under a bridge. Every year we have unnecessary tragic deaths because someone thinks that they'll be okay driving through that water. Never risk it. Stay on high ground. Wherever you're going is not worth your life, and turn around, don't drown. So two things to remember today: how to hunker down and turn around, don't drown. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through about 7 tips, and I don't want this to be 2 hours long, so I'll try to do it quickly. One, first and foremost, with your realtor, with all the sources that are available to you, determine your risk. So when you're purchasing your home, there's a great website called harriscountyfemt.org. That's a flood education mapping tool. You can put in any address and it will show you whether or not you're in a flood zone and what your risks are. Also, because it is not a perfect system, check the seller's disclosures when you are purchasing a home and talk to the neighbors about any flood history that the property has had. Just because a house has had some flood history, for example, if it flooded onto the grass during Harvey, that doesn't mean it's ever going to see flooding again. Just know the history and evaluate your risks. Consider getting, this is number 2, consider getting flood insurance right now. I advise all of my clients, no matter what flood zone they're in or if they're not in one at all, get flood insurance, because your homeowner's policy only covers you for flood type events if it's a burst pipe in your house. It does not cover you from rising waters unless you have a specific flood insurance policy. There's 2 kinds. I actually learned this while researching for this show. One of them is building coverage. That's going to cover everything from electrical and plumbing systems, your water heaters, your appliances, your cabinets, your paneling, your bookcases, your window blinds, foundation walls, basically the structure. The one that I find equally important is contents coverage, because when you've seen neighborhoods that have been severely flooded and all of their contents are on the curb ready to be picked up, you want to hope that they all have flood insurance so they can replace those contents. One thing to know is that if you have things like original artwork and furs, there is a $2,500 limit on those valuable items. So check with your insurance agent, make sure that if you've got priceless art and beautiful mink coats, that they'll be covered. So you need 2 plans, one for sheltering in place and one for an evacuation. If they tell you to evacuate, go. First of all, you don't want to get caught in traffic. You want to be the first person out the door. And one of my tips is make sure you have a paper map and ideally highlight the evacuation routes, ideally more than one, before this kind of time comes up. If you have an extreme power outage or the cell towers go down, your GPS and your phone are not going to work. Go find one of those very hard to find paper maps that they used to sell in gas stations. I don't know if they still do. I'm going to be looking for one myself, but make sure you have a paper map. This is something I just learned. Never leave your pets behind. There is a fantastic federal law that happened in 2006, right after Hurricane Katrina, and I quote that for states, cities, and counties to receive federal funding, they must account for the needs of individuals with household pets and service animals before, during, and following a major disaster or emergency. So where you go, your pets go. Do not leave them behind. If you shelter in place, this is where it gets a little fun. Everybody has a different view on what should be in your hurricane kit. And next week, my social media coordinator, Megan Hunt, and I are going to host a live Amazon show on what we think should be in your hurricane preparedness kit. It's a hot topic if you put it on Facebook. Everybody believes in something different. I'll give you a few quick sneak peeks about what's in mine. Something called a water bob, an electric battery, big one called a jackery, a portable evaporator coil for having air conditioning off of that battery, a portable window AC unit if that works better in your house, cash, your prescription medication, make sure there's plenty of gas in the car. So we'll go over some of those things next week. It'll be a lot of fun. The name of the game is to be ready in case you lose electricity. So one of the things I do is fill gallon-size Ziploc bags with water, make giant ice blocks so that if I have to transfer things to a cooler, I have something that is going to help keep them cool. If your neighbors lose power and you don't, one year I made those Ziploc bags over and over again and just took them so people had ice in their coolers. Strengthen your home. This is number 5. Trim those trees ahead of time. Make sure there aren't any large branches that could potentially fall on your house during strong winds or that could just scrape the side of your house or break windows. So keep those trees trimmed back. Secure outdoor items like patio furniture that can be picked up in high winds. Move your car to high ground in case you think you're a little more flood prone. Just find a spot that's a little higher ground and get your car over there. Make sure all your doors can secure tightly. And especially if you're right on the coast, like in Galveston, go ahead and make plywood planks that will cover your windows and get them prepared for any flying debris. In Interloop Houston, we really don't have to do that kind of thing, but the closer you get to the coast, that's a good idea. Number 6, stay weather aware. You can sign up for weather alerts and services. I have a few apps because I'm kind of a weather nerd. I like the Weather Channel and NOAA's radar system. Those will actually just let you know when there's lightning nearby. So it tells me when to get my dog's thunder shirt out. But they're very helpful for watching for hurricanes. abc13.com, another great resource. So lastly, I've said it before, but check on your neighbors. If you have mobility issues or you know someone who might need additional assistance during an evacuation, there's a program called STAR, S-T-A-R, which means the State of Texas Emergency Assistance Registry. Good to get people on that. It's not a guarantee that they're going to have extra help when the time comes. You may be that extra help, but go ahead and get people registered. A few bonus warnings. When I was a kid, we thought it was great fun to play in the floodwaters, and you will every year see someone inner tubing or being dragged on an inner tube or a ski behind a truck. And it looks funny and it looks cute and clever. It's really dangerous because there can be downed power lines. There is sewage oftentimes in floodwaters. So if you can at all avoid it, don't wade through floodwaters. Really keep an eye out for those downed power lines. So last but not least, if you are a surfer, do not go to the coast and decide to surf hurricane winds and waters. We had an amazing judge for many years who told us, if you're going to go do that, write your social security number on your arm in Sharpie so they can identify your body. Bad idea. So for the most part, hurricanes are just about staying safe, staying put, having your hurricane systems and supplies ready. A lot of people think they're kind of fun. They'll throw hurricane parties, but these are the things that you need to know to stay safe. So good news is we don't have earthquakes, we don't have forest fires, but in Houston, you just have to be ready for hurricane and flood season. So remember, hunker down, Turn around, don't drown. Always be safe. Look out for yourself and others. So I hope that was helpful to you. If you like what you heard and you'd like to follow more real estate related news, you can follow me on any of my social media channels. On Instagram, that's Amy on the Clock. You can find me on YouTube on Amy's on the Move, on Facebook on my business page, In the Loop with Amy McGee, and on LinkedIn, I'm just plain Amy McGee. So thanks for joining me this week. I look forward to seeing you next week when we're going to go through a really fun Amazon Live. And as always, if you need me, call me, text me, send smoke signals, 832-865-2390. Look forward to hearing from you and have a great week.